After an incredible performance of almost 500%, Meta stocks are at the all-time high. In this video I will tell you why we decided to sell all our shares. Let's start from the fundamental page of Meta on the Forecaster terminal, which is where we can find a lot of information regarding the company on the fundamental area, of course, doing a security analysis. But today I would like to start from the bottom of the page, because I would like to start from the value generation. Let me be completely honest and transparent with you. Meta is still a very good and very powerful company, okay? So I'm not gonna say to you that Meta will have problems. I'm not gonna say that Meta will drop on the stock market, because if we see, for example, the value generation area here on the fundamental section of the forecaster, we see that in the last years the number of shares outstanding declined a lot. It means that the company made buybacks. Years by years they repurchased their own stocks. That, as we saw last week when we introduced this new section in the forecaster, we understood is something really good for the shareholders. Okay, if you lost the last week webinar, please go in the video section of the forecaster, where you can find all the webinar we had in the past. And for example, you can also find the last week webinar, which is "Do your shares create or destroy value? Shareholder yield, tell us." And in this webinar, in this video, you can find why the decreasing of shares number is something really good for us shareholder. Okay, we can also see that the efficiency of the company is growing year by year, because as you can see here, we have sales, net income, free cash flow, and gross profit divided for the number of shares. And this chart growing means that the efficiency of the company is becoming better and better every year. Okay, and this is why, of course, we have a robust company, which is the strongest feedback that we have from this section. So very good company, very solid company, because if we switch to the solidity section of the forecaster terminal, we can see that the Altman Z score is 12, which is a lot above the 2.99 level, which is the safe zone. So 12 and 12.18 is something really good for a company. So the Mark Zuckerberg company is not in the risk of bankruptcy. We can find a very low risk of bankruptcy for this company. Also, the Piotrowski score is something really interesting, because we can find the number 7 on a maximum number of 9. So we are also in this case in a green section, so is strong. The stock is to be considered strong. And also regarding the Benisham score, we do not have problem at all. The only problem in this section is here in the value investing area, because if we calculate the fair value of the company using all the three methods we have here, which are the discounted cash flow, the Peter Lynch method, and the economic value added method, we find an average fair value of $407, which is 21% almost 22% above the fair value. So, I mean, the current price, sorry, which is $522, is 21, almost 22% above the fair value. So the company is a very good company because, as you can see, we have a very good trend in financials. We have rising sales, we have rising net income, as you can see here. Also, if we go deeper in our analysis, you can find that the ratios are good because we have in the last year we had a very good profit margin of 35%, a ROI, which is the return on equity, of 25, and under controlled debt, because we have only a 0.23 debt equity. Okay, so we have an incredibly good situation for this company. Okay, the long-term trend of the ratios is not the best, but hey guys, we are talking about one of the biggest company on the globe. But I mean, we can see the financial are really good and is really growing. Talking about Meta, we have to tell a little bit the story of this company, because as you can see, we had a very strong trend starting from the beginning in 2012. We reached a peak here in 2021 and then a drop. This drop came because the company decided to switch the name from Facebook to Meta, and let's say the market, the public, and everybody all around the globe thought that everything was put in the metaverse business. Okay, but actually this is what the company told to the shareholders, but actually if we see the fundamentals, we can see that the company, of course, invested a lot of billion in the metaverse creation, but they still gaining money from the advertising, which is the best business, and let me say the only business of the company at the moment. So at the moment, the company, as you can see, is overvalued, and actually, even if the company remain a very good company, because as we can see, we have a solid company, we have an efficient company, even after years of growing, we still have a robust company. Also, thanks to the old buyback the company had in the past, the efficiency of the company is growing and growing, and this is something that probably will continue in the future. Okay, the only problem is here, using a medium price we can get from the discounted cash flow, the Peter Lynch method, the economic value added method. Okay, we can find that the company is overvalued. If we go back in the overview page and we scroll down the page, we can also see something. Look, the measure shareholder, here we are in the insider transaction section of the Forecaster. We can see that the measure shareholder of the company, which is Mark Zuckerberg, is selling lot of share. Look, all this page is full of selling from Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. Oh, something really important when we talk about insider transaction. When the director of the company, like Mark, one of director of the company like Zuckerberg, sell his shares, is not for sure a bad sign for the company, because someone can sell stocks for many reasons. Okay, maybe you have to do something else. Maybe maybe he need money for something else, and the company, as we can see, is still a good company, but he need money for something else, and this is why he sells shares. So it's much more better when a director buy a company, for sure, because in that case um, the the only motive for buying a company is because for buying shares is because he would like to gain money. Okay, so in the case of sale transaction, of course we can have many reasons for selling shares. Okay, but if we combine the fundamental analysis, where we can find, of course, the fair value, and we can find that the current price is above almost 22% from the average fair value, combined to this huge selling of shares from Mark Zuckerberg, we decided to switch, to sell our position and to invest in other stocks that we consider much undervalued. And of course, I remember that we talked about these shares in all our previous weekly webinars, so you can find all the videos here in the Forecaster.biz video page. You can find here on the menu. Okay, guys, as always, if you have a question, if you would like to ask me something, feel free to use the chat, so we can talk directly by the chat. Don't be shy, please. I know my English is not perfect. I'm trying to improving week by week. I always do webinars regarding finance and online trading and investing in Italian, and I'm trying to do in English. I'm really studying in order to become fluent in this language, but of course, sometimes you can recognize I have a little bit problems of accent, as all the Italian have, but no worries, I'm improving. Anyways, let's go back to the forecaster, because we can also find something interesting regarding Meta, which is the overbought and oversold section. If we go and see this section, which is something really interesting in my opinion, because we can find a lot of information about the statistics of the price, what we can see, look, this is the Wyckoff-Causis effect, which is an indicator we created, which do something really easy, let's say. Okay, maybe, probably you are familiar with the Wyckoff theory. What this indicator do is telling us if the prices are supported by investor purchasing or not. For example, in this case, we can see that even if the prices started to rising at December 2023 and they made a huge upward movement, okay, we can see that in the indicator told us a different stories, because in this case on the prices we have an upward movement with higher high and higher lows, and of course it means we have an upward trend. But if we switch to the indicator, we can see that the trend is downward on the indicator. It means that even if the prices is rising, many and always more investor is selling their shares. Okay, So this is why, especially starting from this point, which is from February 2024, when prices became red, very easy, guys, this is statistics. It means that the prices went out their average, let's say, okay, their how can I say, standard deviation. Okay, now I remember the name in English. They just went out their standard deviation. Okay, and of course, in this case, look, starting exactly from this point, which is the red prices, where prices went out their standard deviation, we had all these lateral slash upward movement, which was made with the decreasing of the indicator. So the demand dropped, even if the prices is still on the tops. Okay, so we can use this indicator as let's say a timing indicator, because if the prices goes up, like in this case, but this indicator goes down, it means that this movement is not supporting by the demand. Okay, the offer is much more strong in this period, and this is why the prices could drop. Okay, if we also analyze the same chart with the speed indicator, which is something really interesting, because this line is something really easy, is the velocity of the prices. Okay, if you imagine here you have a car, we just calculated the velocity of prices, and in this case, look what happened. Starting also in this case from this point where the prices became red because they went out from their standard deviation, look what happened to the velocity of prices. The velocity dropped. Okay, and so we have two signals of weakness from the prices, even if the prices are gaining and are creating higher high in this moment. Okay, but combining the fundamental analysis, where we can find an overvalued company, combining the overbought and oversold section, where we can find that statistics say to us that we are in an overbought situation, and combining the fact that Mr. Zuckerberg is selling tons of shares, we decided to sell our shares too. Of course, as I told you, Meta remain a very interesting and strong and solid and efficient company. This is why Meta remain in our watch list, and we will buy it when the company will drop, if it will drop.
If you like this video, I invite you to try the Forecaster terminal. You can find the link in the description. And I also invite you to join our weekly webinar, where we share our best trading and investment ideas. You can find the link in the description too.